Other side, it's Dave Krauth. You want to talk about an experienced matchup in this one? Krauth is in his 28th season. He made it to the Northern Sun Championship game a year ago.
I think, we never really talked about it a lot about him going to the college ranks. I don't think it was necessarily something that he had planned out. I think it was something that came about where he kind of thought, maybe I'll apply for that and we'll see what happens. And so he didn't really discuss it in depth with me until he was like in the interview process. And I think when he told me that he was interviewing, I thought, oh yeah, it's a college job, he's just interviewing. But then when he told me that he got the job, it was just surreal in a way. He just told me it was my choice. He said, you do what you feel you want to do, what you feel like is going to be your path. There was no pressure. There was no expectation that was set with it. But I think it was a pretty easy choice. If you could go play a college sport for your dad and then also play 2 sports versus 1 if I was going to go to Kansas, it was a pretty easy decision for me.
During the recruiting process, he didn't say boo to me. I mean, he was obviously at every game because that was when they were different seasons. So we played in the fall at that time. So he was able to get to almost every game versus now, if we were winter, he would have struggled to get to it. There was never any pressure. And he said the same thing, like Julie said, you got a decision. You can come here and you can play 2 and you can be successful at 2 sports, or like Julie, I had offers to go play softball. And so, but for me, I just knew that it was the right decision.
I think the big one that really sticks out to me, and it wasn't even when I was playing or when you were playing, Kate, it was the regional tournament a few years back that they hosted when they kind of went on their run there for possibly, getting into the Final Four situation. And they won the semifinal game, and it was a tight, close game. I mean, it was just a jam-packed Elman Center, but it was so fun and so cool that I'm sitting right there with Kate. We're watching the game and we're watching Dad, but it's not being coached by Dad. Now we're watching. So we're watching him, and it's different.
Northern? Was that the game against Northern?
Yeah. And it was just so cool to see him in his element and doing exactly what he does and why he's so good at it. And I've got my sister sitting right next to me and my children and her children, and we're watching him in that big moment. That was it was too cool.
Oh no, like the Coach Krauth you see now is not the Coach Krauth that was 20 years ago or like 30 years ago or whatever it was. I mean, no, he was super intense, always on the refs, always yelling, always getting in your face. Might have had a few cuss words in there once in a while, but it was, it's funny to see how much it's changed. That's for sure.
Because when we were playing, like she said, it was more kind of smash mouth in your face and motivating you by, if I can get you mad enough, it's going to motivate you and get something out of you. You're amazing. You're amazing at what you do. And I know it's biased. It's my dad, but he's one of the best in the field. And I'd put him up against any Division I men's coach, any Division I women's coach. I would stack him in the top of those categories because he's just so amazing at taking what he's got and finding ways to put it together and find ways to win. I've never seen another coach that can do that with what he has available. And I think he's the kind of coach that he drives to get a lot out of you, but he also gets the respect from his players too, because they know that he genuinely cares and wants the best for his players. And so I would just congratulate him on, that's amazing, 1,000 total wins. It's completely amazing, but it doesn't surprise me either.
He's our dad. He's so good at what he does, just like Julie said. And he's one of the best at like the X's and O's. I mean, it's game time, it's crunch time, we're down by 1, and he can just boom. I mean, he's got a set play, and it's executed. We're gonna win the game. So there's not a lot of guys, women, men, anything that can do that. So kind of to reiterate what Julie said, he's amazing. He's one of a kind. He genuinely cares for his players. And I think if you ask any of the alumni, I mean, out of however many he's had, I would be surprised if very few have many negative things to say. He's left a mark on all of our lives, and that's not, I mean, you can't trade that. So he's phenomenal.